Hey, I'm Des.
Hey y'all, I'm Sai.
And we're the co-hosts of Let's Talk Sis podcast, where we truly believe that together empowered women can transform their lives.
Join us for heartfelt stories, enlightening conversations, and a whole lot of accountability along the way. Hey y'all.
Hey.
We're back with another episode.
Yes, we are.
How you feeling?
I feel good. How you feel?
I feel good. I can't complain. I'm a little tired though, to be transparent. I'm really tired, but
I'm hungry if we being very transparent.
nonetheless, I'm always excited for our pod days.
Yes.
So we are doing things a little bit different today.
A lot different today, actually.
Yeah, if you're watching this, then obviously there's an elephant in the room. Not literally, but figuratively.
There's a wolf in the room.
It's my
correction.
Right. It's a wolf in the room. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to have you here for our conversation today.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I don't mind being an elephant because elephants are wise. But I'm excited to be here. It's something I know we've been talking about for a long time. I feel like since last year maybe, or maybe the top of this year. So I'm happy that we're able to get it done. You know what I mean? Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you for coming out here to be with us.
No, for sure. I feel like last time it was supposed to get done, I ain't make it. So this time I said I won't miss the second time.
He said y'all was there for the couch live, so,
Yeah, I mean, we here, right?
We here again. That's crazy.
This is crazy. It feels good though. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm even more excited to get into our discussion.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm super excited. I'm really excited to have Mel's presence on the pod because we haven't had a Mel yet.
No.
And an intelligent man who is able to articulate himself and have a perspective that is, in some cases, I would say probably similar to ours, but also still like a standalone, strong, opinionated individual. So today's conversation is going to be about what?
Monogamy and polygamy.
How did I get this cold? What
I
walk into.
All right.
We're chatting about monogamy and polygamy, and basically, do you think monogamy is like a dying out breed? Like, do you think it's something that's becoming no longer a standard?
Before we get into this, it was the grin. The grin took me. It was like rubbing hands. Like
no, I'm ready for this one. I'm trying to process the conversation. Like I'm trying to see the question in itself. Like you're saying, like, is it a dying? Like I feel like with that particular thing, up to each his own. Like you know what I mean? Like I can't say a dying out because it's being faded out in the media. Like we don't know what people really want. So I won't say a dying out, but I would say that everything else has become more common. So whereas like it was largely a secret for somebody to have certain thoughts and desires and wants, it's now being like everybody get to choose their own lifestyle. So polygamy, polyamory, and all of the other things that fall is just as prevalent as monogamy. We just was taught that for so long, so many people just felt like they had to subscribe to it. But I feel like it don't fit everybody. So, and it's like if you think about, like, and I don't want to get religious, but you think about Islam and then Christianity, Islam naturally promotes polygamy. So that's that's just a regular practice. But if you go in the Bible, it once was a regular practice, but then the New Testament, if y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like you definitely like tapped in, but it started to become more the Trinity, the wife and the husband come together and form as one. And then I feel like polygamy just fell off the board. But I feel like it was always people's preference. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so what's your preference?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I want to further elaborate. Yeah, I was saying, it was given.
Don't me too.
Seriously, like, because you said people's preference.
Right.
So I wanted to make it a little bit more specific and personal. And I feel like the preference could possibly be subjective based off of circumstance, 100%. Right? But like ideally, when you envision yourself in like this married man,
So I mean, I'm traditional. So I've always desired to be with one woman. Okay. You follow what I'm saying? As a man who has grown to become more self-disciplined and things like that, like I appreciate the work I put in to be able to have that capacity. But when I think about it, like she said, it's subjective and it's seasonal because like I just got out of a situation. So it's like my mind ain't even fully, and now don't get me wrong, marriage is very much still my goal, but it's like Yeah, I don't know. I understand why people have multiple wives.
Okay.
Like I understand, and I'm not ruling. I wouldn't rule for it or against it because, like, you just like as a man. See, this is the true thing. This is where I feel like the conversation gets blurred, right? Like if we talking like religiously and all of that, it's the way that it's supposed to be. If you Christian, it's a Christian way. If you Muslim, is an Islamic way. The practices look different, right? So that's why I don't want to focus on that because depending on the audience, they're going to have their perspective and it's going to be that for what they believe.
Yeah.
So let's take that off the table. But let's talk about the nature. You know what I'm saying? If you look at, and you see it all the time, you look at different species or whatever the case may be, naturally, you typically see one male dominant and having dominion over multiple females, right? So by nature, men had a capacity, because we can love logically and emotionally. So it's like, because we're not ruled from that field of just operating from our emotions, it's not like every woman that a man wants to be with is going to be solely based on it being his soulmate. It could literally be like, I love her for this. It's practical. I love her for this. I love her for that. And a man could have that capacity to have 2, 3 wives. Now, can a person handle it? It's another conversation. I think that the conversation shifted because it started to become about happiness. So I was like, well, can you make all of them happy?
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's what the original conversation was supposed to be about. It was about community, and it was about a village, and it was about accomplishing things. It wasn't really about individual happiness.
Yeah, and I was just about to dive into that, but you already touched on it.
No, you could go touch
as far as like its origin, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with like polygamy and the basis of why
I'm not that versed.
Where it came from, originated, or why it honestly seems more practical in my opinion. But what's your perspective or thoughts when you think about like the pros of it from that aspect?
Hold on, you said what seems more practical?
Polygamy.
Interesting.
What's your thoughts? Could you be polygamous?
I feel like it sounds good, but I probably not. I'm too territorial.
So that's interesting.
And that's another thing, right? I think that in order for you to not even entertain the idea, because it's not for everybody, right? But I think for people to even understand the basis or the origin of why and where it came from, you have to take yourself out the equation
100%.
and look at it from like a place of pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this practical for me, my family? Like, not just you, not just the fact that women are emotional, not just the fact that women are territorial, not just the fact that that's my man, that's my husband, but the fact of the matter is, okay, we have kids or whatever the case may be. Does this support the betterment of the whole team, the whole community in a sense like that?
See, I feel like people think about they just think when people think because I'm not versed in it, right? It ain't like I did a ton of research, but I feel like the preconceived notion is they just think about like the sexual aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I think they skip all of the other things that come with it, you know what I mean? And go right to the bedroom and just start trying to dissect how that would go, you know what I mean?
So to overlook the whole thing, like I said, it seems ideal. Like even as a woman in the household to have a helpmate, basically. Somebody else that can do the same exact thing.
We're not allowed to say we want to help me, but go ahead.
Same exact thing. Like it makes sense. It seems like it takes a load off of you a little bit. Yeah. But like I said, I have to also think of things emotionally because I feel like that's my reality.
I mean, that's fair.
And as a man, what I would say is, personally, I'm not going to speak for a minute. I feel like for me, I would ideally expect it to be like 3 people coming together. So it's not like I just love you and you just love, like it's like got to be like one love type of thing where it's like equally all people.
Like this my wife and you the girlfriend.
But I heard, now look, because again, this topic is not like an area where I'm crazy versed. I know people that's like, they own that and they know this stuff inside and out. So I don't want to come off as the expert because I'm not the expert in this particular aspect. But I heard that in that particular arena, they not even supposed to have no ties. Like when you really talking about it, they say like it's supposed to be this family and that family. Yep. It ain't necessarily supposed to be we in the crib together. Yeah. So, now granted, if in a perfect world, if y'all could live in one big house and it's not like, now granted, like who knows about that? Like I'm gonna leave the sexual part out of it and just like being able to operate in that one village type community. I think that, that would be ideal. Of course, as a man, like what man, what and wouldn't want. See, like for me, this is how I look at it, right? I feel like I understand the responsibility that comes with taking care of a woman, right? So even let's take the marriage part out. Let's just stick in dating. Even when you think about dating, like it depends, like depending on what type of man you is, some men look at women for what they could get from them, right? They want to extract, right? So they want 20 women because they look at it like that's 20 people I can take from. But as every woman I get, I know I'm taking care of. So for me, I look at it like 20 responsibilities. I don't want 20 responsibilities.
That's good.
So it's like having one is like enough, but then having two is like, all right, if you can handle that, like, cause like everybody's capacity is different.
Yeah.
I will be honest with myself. How much can I really handle from a responsibility aspect, and how much value am I being added from either party so that it makes complete sense, right? Cause I'm still a businessman, so I gotta make sense. It's like, all right, I'm willing to invest these things, cause now everything I'm doing is duplicated, like it's double. All right, I gotta lay down my life for this person and that person. I gotta pay for this and that. All right, so what are they doing for me outside of the bedroom that's making this a situation where it's like, nah, like I'm gonna make sure both of them cool, or if it's three, whatever the case may be. But most of the time, you know, if you're dealing with a man and he's just on the tip, like, you know, I'm like, I want multiple women because of what it serves me, not what I gotta give to be able to get that. That's when you get these false understandings and people like condemning it, because they just look at it like, oh, it's all about him. And it's like, nah, like when you're a provider, it's like having, and people don't like when I make the comparison, but I don't care. It's like having multiple children as a provider. When I say that is, again, we leaving all that, the other shit to the side. We just talking about protection and providing. It's no different. Literally, as a provider, it's no different. The same things I do for my daughters is the same thing that I did for my woman. It's like outside of the other stuff, of course, like, you feel what I'm saying? But it's just like, when we talk about protection, I'm laying down my life. I'm dealing with temper tantrums. I'm dealing with complaining. I'm dealing with not listening. I'm dealing with always, you know what I'm saying? This is the same thing, and it's still costing me the same amount of money. My 15-year-old daughter, nails don't cost me no different than what my girl nails cost.
Yeah.
So if I could take care of, that's how I started looking at it, like, well, in reality, I'm already paying these expenses. I'm already paying for multiple nails. I'm already paying,
Actually afford another one.
I'm already doing it. Like I have all girls.
Yeah.
So you feel me? So it's like, I'm already doing it. So, you know, when we talking practically here, you feel me? That's not like that became my desire, but it became the reality. I'm like, I can see how a man, if a man is a single man, he's well off, and he don't got no kids. And that's not to say he's not gonna have kids, but that's when the village come into place. Okay, can we afford this?
But
does it make sense?
Are we only referring to finances?
And when I say capacity?
Yeah.
No, because I'm glad that's a good point you raised, right? No, because I still was dealing with the same amount of emotions. It's still it's 3 young women and then it's a woman. But the emotions and everything outside, like, this is my partner, so I'm intimate here, right? That's the barrier on this side. But everything else is no barrier, it's the exact same. I'm dealing with periods and and it's the same amount. It's the same.
So that's what you're dealing with from them, but are they still getting the same you?
So when we thinking about it, right, I said from a man capacity, I can't tell, because again, that makes it self-centered. Like, I can't say who felt what. I know that I allocated my time in the best way I could.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be like, oh, let me make it about you. Like, everybody got their day. It's your birthday, this your day. It's your birthday, it's your day. It's Christmas, everybody get what they get.
Yeah,
but
prioritizing.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, I can't, for me, it's like, it's just like having, it was, like I'm telling you, like, I can only speak it from the experience I've had. It didn't feel, I felt like, yo, I'm spending the same amount of money. The only difference is I'm only billing here. But it's like, my kids still expect shit. Like, it's not like my kids. They still. My kids would say, "I don't pay them no mind." My kids would say, like you feel me? Like, if I'm, oh, he spend more time over there. Oh, why she got that? Oh, it's just like, you feel me? And that's, again, we speaking practically. You know what I mean? I keep referencing that because I don't ever want people to lose sight of the actual topic at hand, because, you know, sometimes people get triggered and they short circuit. Yeah. And next thing you know, they thinking about, they're not even hearing nothing.
Yeah. I don't want the conversation to pivot too much, but I really, like, as you were speaking, I was like, it takes a great deal or great level of self-awareness for you to be able to flip the situation and even be like, okay, well, what value am I adding into this situation, right? So I want you to talk about, or kind of share, or I don't know, get into, like, how did you arrive at this level of self-awareness, especially when it pertains to women? Because if I'm transparently speaking, like, me and Destiny be having conversations all the time, and it's like, sometimes I feel like men be having, like, this wall up, like they're blinded almost by a false sense of reality, that they don't even see where they actually are. They only see where they, like, what they're trying to gain, or where they're heading, in a sense.
Give me more context with that last part, like where they actually are part, like.
So like, for example, dating, right? This is something me and Destiny are both, like, in the dating world, just, you know, navigating. And I feel like sometimes men will pursue you with their goal or end result in mind, but not even pay homage to where they are today. With that being said, for example, okay, dating, less finances. I feel like that's always like the easiest go-to for women, right? Nowadays, but like even mental capacity and intellect, right? So someone will literally see us on a podcast and having conversations of substance, right? Knowing that they don't have the capacity to hold the type of conversations, but still want to get on the phone and literally what you do or
what
text
you doing you to death
all day, what you doing to death, and it's like you know you didn't have the capacity.
No, I think that y'all going into it with a false sense of like what's happening here, right? So people walk in Gucci all the time knowing they don't have the money. Like, you can't stop somebody from coming to window shop. You can only like be prepared for the person that's ready to actually buy. So if you keep finding yourself attracting window shoppers, you can't expect this person to pull the money out. They don't have it. So they're going to take as much time as you give them. They're not going to just be like, oh, I can't sustain this. I'm out. They're going to be like, for as long as you're going to entertain me, I'm going to entertain you.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. And I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute because, like, for example, Destiny, I know you experienced this. You know how it's that one person in your DM for years talking to themselves?
Actually,
and it's like...
I was going to respond to that for you. You just said, if you keep attracting window shoppers. And I was going to say, how you attract window shoppers and how to...
Like, how you get rid of them.
Because I got people that's been in my DM since 2017.
No, but they not window shopping if y'all don't actually let them in. They not even in the store. I'm talking about somebody that's, like you said, y'all texting, not like going nowhere.
Okay.
Like, I'm saying, like, at that point, that's a window shopper.
Okay.
But as far as in, another thing I see women do, like, you go in a DM and they say, don't DM, right? So, like, all right, let's just say I'm a qualified candidate, right? All right, don't DM. Right? So just as much people as y'all thinking y'all blocking off, that's bad.
Oh, my DMs don't say that.
No, I got you, but when I say so
Wait,
when I say you and y'all, I'm generally speaking.
Yeah, I know.
But because most of the time I'm addressing the camera, I'm talking to the world. But when I say when it says don't DM, like it's like of a job. You walking past a job, you might be interested. If the sign on the window say not hiring, think like they not hiring. But the whole time they just don't want BS employees. So I'm speaking to the ones who do got that. It's like y'all, you say how can you get rid of them? I'm saying don't do that. Don't put the sign up that says, don't DM. I'm unapproachable. I'm unavailable, because just as much of a wall you put up for the fuck boys, you put up that same wall for the good boys, because the way we really attract where we at, right? So it's like, it's certain experiences I don't attract. Even when I can run into the same woman as the next man, he'll be like, yo, bro, she was toxic. She was the first thing that's going through my mind is, that's what you pulled out of her. Yeah. And vice versa though, because it's not like, I feel like you got, because it's like, I hear women all the time, they're like, well, they hear like what a guy did for a girl, and be like, well, how you get that? And it's
that's
like,
really true.
That's the first thing I thought about.
Yeah, how you get him to act like that?
He's a different person.
Because she extracting that, she ain't doing nothing special. Like, as a man, we either gonna rise to the occasion, or we just not gonna, it's gonna fall. It's like, it is what it is. But the occasion has to be set. But what tends to happen is, when women see a man not rising to the occasion, she dropped it, she bring it down. Right? It's like she put herself on clearance, and now he could afford you. He couldn't afford it before.
That's crazy.
And it's like, now, because y'all got this thing where y'all see an end goal too. And if you try to manipulate and manufacture and structure it the way you want it to be, now you overseeing things and overlooking things like on a resume that clearly, fuck a red flag. Let's talk about resumes. Let's talk about track records. Because that red flag shit is burned out to me. We talking about resumes.
Yeah.
We talking about history.
Yeah.
You overlooking it because you think that your picture is brighter than the one that was painted before. And in reality, is like, the only way to not attract that is to elevate what you want. Like, I don't even, like, I got certain standards within self. You asked me how I get to this point, so I'm gonna tie it. I literally went on, like, that's why I'm not on a self-love journey. I already love myself. I'm on a journey to get stable in a way that will proposition me to be the man I want to be when I'm married, right? Okay. But I don't need to go. I did the self-love journey. I did the fast, and I went without sex. I did all of that. I'm not in that phase no more. But going through that, it was a heavy detachment, a lot from ego, a lot from, identity that's associated and attached to certain things. And at the same time, more importantly, it was self-reflection, honestly. So y'all know my second book, The Art of Accountability, is a mirror on the cover because it's for you to look in the mirror. A lot of people be scared to face themselves because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like the ugly truth where you like, nah, like I really ain't who I think I am right now, but I can become that.
We talked about that on one of the episodes. I was like, I think for me, I've been going through it within the last year, right? And having those moments, I swear they hit you at the most randomest times, right? The times where you really think you hot shit, and then a random thought or something, or God just be like, wait, but ain't you dealing with this? And you'd be like,
we just had that conversation 2 nights ago.
Literally, like, and I was talking about, like, on the podcast, I'm like, I was sitting in the shower and I'm just like, yo, I ain't even know I was dealing with this. I ain't even know. I never healed from this. I removed myself from this environment. I never actually healed from it. And I feel like, but not even running from it, being intentional. But just when you remove yourself, like, you think you transition and you pivoting through life, and then you end up thinking like, hold on.
You didn't sit through that
story. You get triggered again, and it's like, whoa, I thought I dealt with that. But then that trigger came up, and it's like showing everything.
And you got to look at a lot of people out here just putting screen protectors on broken screens. They're not actually fixing the phone.
Yeah.
So they think that they could just package it up and go on. But it's like, nah, under that screen protector, the screen is still cracked.
The temporary fix.
And that's what's happening with a lot of people. So it's like, we're not really looking ourselves in the mirror and be able to say, like, where do I lack? Like, some things you got to just accept about yourself as what it is. Like, certain flaws, because we all got flaws, right?
Yeah.
Certain flaws are just what they are. But certain things come down to self-improvement. And it's like, you know what? I actually could work on that. Like, I could stop talking like that, or I can stop doing this. But this right here is just me. I'm not about to not be me, but at the same time, I can improve in these areas. And it's like, is what I'm doing on a day-to-day getting me closer to what I say I want? Everybody said they want to be married, but what are you doing to prepare yourself for marriage? And it's like, self-love don't really prepare you for marriage.
Yeah.
That prepare you to work on self.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, marriage is about getting embedded into a team program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of like where I'm at. It's like, I always sound marriage minded. That's my end goal. I'm not changing the goal because life circumstances have taken place. Because and that's what was the difference, where it's like, all right, now I can look, and like you said, like, well, you said, well, looking at it like, well, I'm giving out because I believe that you got to give to receive.
Yeah.
So I'm all like, when you think about it, right? Like, poor people, they say, poor people ask what it costs, wealthy people ask what it make. So like, take it out from the finance part and just think about when it comes down to giving and receiving. I'm not about to ask me what it's going to cost to get the woman in my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at the end goal of what I want. And it's like, okay,
return on investment.
when people think about sacrifice, we always think about giving up something we don't want to give up. That's not necessarily sacrificing. Sacrifice is giving up something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. Are you willing to give up lying to be trusted as truthful? Are you willing to give up, doing a half-ass job to gain a client that's going to pay you a lot of money? Are you willing to give up being deceitful to have a partner that can stand, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you giving up something of a lower vibration for something of a higher vibration. Yeah. So when I looked at all the things, I'm like, okay, I have to sacrifice these things because they don't serve me. So yeah, I can have access to this woman, I can do this, I can do that, but that don't serve my bigger picture. So I got to look at it like, as a man, what do I want from her, and what am I willing to extract from me in order to be able to do so? And that's both good and bad, like, because it's an investment. Like, I understand that. That's how I look at it. And as a man, you watching this, if your girl ain't completely clueless when she around you, then she don't trust you. Because one thing that is common, I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. Women don't have to think when they're around a man that's a solutionist.
That's very true.
She becomes so excuse me, lady. She becomes so stupid. Like, you be like, what the fuck? How the fuck she got 2 degrees? What
Turn
the
your
fuck
brain right off.
She's fucking. But that also lets you know that she trusts you, because like her fight or flight, her hyper awareness, her hyper protecting, the need to control, all that shit is fucking gone. And the only person that can fuck that up is us once we get it. Granted, some of us start behind the 8 ball because of past trauma, and that's not fair. But when we get it, and I value that too much to fuck that up. Yeah. So, I know it. Like, all right, I'm playing from behind the 8 ball, which I don't plan on doing too much. Like, ladies, y'all gotta get that shit together. Like, I'm not playing behind the 8 ball too much to move forward. But when you playing behind the 8 ball, you understand, like, all right, I'm coming at a deficit. I'm had to work a little harder because I'm dealing with broken glass. Yeah. But once we restore this, I'm not about to be the one to shatter that motherfucker.
It's him putting his shameless plug in there that he
I ain't doing it.
I never said I was. I don't think I'm dating right now, though.
No, but you plugged yourself.
I haven't dated yet.
You let him know that you
right
out here.
That's what y'all receive. It's so good to get like. All right, so I'm listening to how women receive it. Go ahead.
So I want to take it back just a little bit to where you said when you sometimes look in the mirror and we all have flaws. So some things like that's just a flaw that I have, but then other things it's like, oh, I could work on that and change that. How were you able to decipher the two? Because I feel like that's something we talk about a lot when we even talk about accountability.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people use that as an excuse with that's just me. That's just who I am.
Sure. All right, I get you. That's perfect. I got you.
How were you able
All right, so like, I'm 5'9". That's just what it is. I would never be 6'1", 6'2". I can't change that. I'm not gonna go get knee surgery and heighten that's just me. But I can always develop my character. I can always, you know what I'm saying? So it's not, it's more so like a woman might look and be like, I got this scar on my stomach from having a baby, and she might hate that about herself. But you got to learn to love that about yourself. Like, for instance, my nose, right? I was born like this, right? So it's like, I had to learn at a very young age to love my appearance, but so ego wouldn't take me. And at through my teenage years, it was about how much money I was making. I was making a lot of money at a young age, so I used to just, that was my defense. I get more money than you, you broke as shit. When I was younger than that, before it was money, I was smart. So like, I would tell my brother and them, y'all ain't going to college. Y'all niggas ain't gonna never be shit. Like, that's how I would talk, because they would talk about, but once you develop the self-love and you start to love everything about you, it radiates through your energy, and then other people find you attractive, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the part of yourself that you accept. Like, you know what? This is who I am. This is what you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm this fast, I'm this tall, I'm this, you know what I'm saying? Like, your anatomy is your anatomy. Like, you could be like, I don't like the size of my chest. Like, I'm not saying don't go get them done. You could do that, because that could be changed. But I'm just saying, if you don't, that don't mean it's something wrong with you. Mm-hmm. You can accept that about yourself. Some people just want to be like, no, you know what? I actually wanted to do this. I wanted to get my teeth done. But not getting them done don't make you less than. Yeah, don't you follow what I'm saying? It's a self thing. Whereas though the things you can work on is like, yo, you know what? I gotta be intentional. Like, I have to be intentional about being a better dad. Mm-hmm. It's not about, because as men, like, see, women and men have two different types of delusions. Like, sometimes as a man, our delusion can come from a standpoint of feeling like our efforts are enough. Mm-hmm. And it's because we know how hard we trying, but we never take a time to see how our efforts are being received or perceived. So my kids don't understand how hard I work to get them what they want. They don't understand why I'm tired when I come in the crib. They just want dad. So I had to, and it's crazy because I was just telling them just recently, I'm like, yo, I was like, Dad, I'm sorry if I've been being a little mean. My daughter was like, you ain't mean, you just been busy, right? So now I've been busy. I'm traveling, but I make sure I dedicate time. When we FaceTime, I'm on FaceTime with her. I sometimes, like, because they was at my crib, they was living half and half. It just go, you in your room playing on the iPad, whatever. But now that I'm on the go way more, it's like I'm intentional about the time. Like, and with my oldest daughter, the same thing. We have an intentional conversation. It don't got to be all day, every day. But when we talk, we're going to talk.
And I think that matters a lot too. And people don't really understand that when it comes to like being efficient and effective in time management. Yeah. Especially for fathers, right? And you speaking from your perspective, because just thinking about the time that I spent with my dad and the memories that I recall, it was like, I didn't see him a lot. He wasn't in the household and things like that. But when I was younger, the time was well spent. Like, it was one-on-one time. It was intentional. It was full of like dialogue and just having a good time. Whereas though a lot of people, I had this conversation with my friend because she comes from a 2-parent household, but she was basically saying it felt like her dad was never there. Like, he was just, even you shared
I was about to say, because I lived in the house with my mom and dad for quite a while. And
you want to know what suck about that though? Because if dad was there too much, y'all going to say he there too much. There's no balance for that. We gotta, as men, we gotta pick which one we want to be.
What do you mean by there too much? Because like my dad was there. I wouldn't say he was there too much. He was there, but it didn't feel like he was there.
We really come with discipline. We really come with structure. We really come with routine. That shit could get overbearing for women when a man is, when we in the house all day, every day, really laying down the foundation. Like, it's like, Dad, Jerome, I can't wear this. I can't go here. I can't do this. I can't do nothing. He too strict. But then if you're not there enough, it's like, you're not there enough. So the balance for us is creating a program where we can instill, because I teach my kids about principles and having morals and things like that, so that they can, it's about having a toolbox that they can extract from when they're out in the world, right? But I also understand that because I'm still in pursuit of what I'm trying to be on too, I understand that I still got time to dedicate over here, and if I am here too much and they got stuff that they want and I can't get it, that don't make me that much valuable either.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's no
perspective. She was saying like he was physically present, but he just wasn't contributing.
Yeah. It wasn't that intentional. Like, you know how you think back. I think back now that I'm older and that I'm an adult, I feel like a lot of moments spent with your parents is times that you think about. So it's like, I could think about somebody could ask me like, what's one, like I'm sure if somebody probably asked your daughters, what's one thing your dad has taught you? They would probably have something to say.
Yeah, I'd be loving that.
You ask me that, I'm gonna be like,
give me a moment to think about it.
So let's say this then.
You could give me forever to think about it.
All right. So what let's land it right there though. What value did your dad add to your life? No, really. Like, so he never paid for nothing. He never did.
I mean, he probably paid for some stuff.
All right. So what about if did you ever feel like if you was in danger, you can call your dad?
For sure.
All right.
1,000%.
So you got a personal bodyguard for your whole entire life growing up. There's a lot of ladies that didn't have that. So you might have didn't get the words of wisdom, but his presence alone protected you in ways that you couldn't even see. So you feel me? So it's like every man don't got the capacity to articulate and deliver and do these things, but that don't mean I'm telling you, like, the presence of a man alone changes the whole entire landscape of a woman's life. And social media tries to take that element out. And I'll explain to you how.
I agree with that statement for sure.
I'm telling you, down to, look at it like this, right? People be like, well, because I've said it, it ain't like you're going to get into too many physical altercations. You're like, I would hope not, right? But the presence of a man prevents that as well. Prevention is a motherfucker. Because why you think the fucking president has Secret Service? They not on the job all day shooting, killing, like ducking from, but their presence alone stops people from trying the president.
I don't know, because didn't Trump arrogant Nick? Like, no.
Hey, but no, that's fine. That's funny, right? But that was one incident.
Yeah.
And that's above us. But the actual reality on the day-to-day is the experience of like a man could have nothing. He could be just dressed with nothing in his pockets and just walk down the street with you, and your day-to-day experience would be different.
Yeah.
Just from that alone. So that don't mean that that's enough. But I'm just saying it's always something that a man did for you, even if you can't pinpoint. Like, you never know what type of guidance he gave your mom to help your life. Like, you don't know what them conversations, and if that wasn't the case, then I don't know. Like, I can't speak from a perspective that I have no insight on. You know what I mean? And everybody, we all interpret things differently.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to add that it is so different having a man on here, because I feel like we have somebody, like, a lot of times when Destiny and I are speaking, it's from a place of like either ignorance or just curiosity, right? And I think we do a really good job at making sure that this platform isn't like a bash men type of thing or whatever the case, like pro woman. Yeah, we are pro woman, but like not men.
I was about to say, just because we're pro women don't mean we're against
anti-men. I got you.
Anti-men, that's a better word. But I think a lot of times when we have these conversations and the aspect of a man come up or perspective of a man, when we want that like value added to a conversation, we literally just skip over and be like, all right, y'all, we gotta get it. Yeah, we're like, I like that about us, that we don't try to like dissect or make a
y'all say what y'all went through and y'all allow it to be what it is.
Whatever, and we like, all right, we going to seek some wisdom or guidance from somebody. But you said something that as you were talking, a question popped into my mind, and it was, do you believe that being too self-aware exists?
Hell yeah.
Okay, and I was about to say, coming from a place of just overly internalizing everything. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, because you can be hyper aware, whereas like you noticing things, and depending on where it stems from, your trauma can make reality out of things that's not really reality. Like, that don't mean you're not seeing it, that don't mean it's not happening, but where you're pulling your information from is from the perspective of your pain. Yeah. So you're seeing things because it's through that perspective, it's being filtered out to make you think that this is a familiar situation, and you think that your intuition is kicking in, but really that's just your trauma triggering you. Mm-hmm. And the way that you kind of assess that is, you gotta start, like, a lot of people voicing their head work against them. I just got my voice to work for me.
No,
like,
seriously.
Like,
talk about it.
My voice works for me now. Like, even like, I could be reading the comments and they could be going at me, right? And my voice, like, you gonna let this motherfucker get you mad? Like, go look at it. You gonna get it sometimes. You gonna get it some energy. So now I'm holding myself so accountable internally that it don't even allow me to give it energy. But I can recall vividly 2 years ago when it was working again. Yo, you tripping? Like, you can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's when my ego take over, and it's like, you got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Now I gotta pop.
Because my ego I see people talk. I click their page and I start typing. I'm like,
no, seriously.
Because I be about to be like, yo.
No, but you got.
I'm about to go comment on their pictures.
People are going to do their job. Everybody have a role to play.
Yeah.
And they have a role. And it's like, you can't respond back to where they at when you're coming from where you're at.
Yeah.
Because I understand that most people that got a comment that's opposing or whatever the case may be coming from a different place.
Yeah.
Why am I about to come there? Yeah. What am I about to meet you over there for, and we not even on the same side of the street? Yeah. It's a 6 or a 9 depending on what side you're looking at it from. I'm not arguing with that.
That's good. A 6 or a 9, depending on what side.
I'm not arguing. I'm not about to argue. I see what I see. You see what you see. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
2 things can be true at once.
That's true. And that I think arriving at that point really came with maturity. Just understanding that perspective really shapes our life, like the way in which we view life. Right.
100%.
Another question that I want to ask you.
Did I answer that?
Yeah, you did.
All right.
You hit it right. Yeah. But another question that I had was, do you believe in soulmates?
I believe in soulmates more than I believe in soul ties. So we can unpack that. But,
Okay, yeah, hold on. What, you don't believe in soul ties?
No, I don't believe in soul ties. I believe in energy transfers, but I don't think it lasts as long as people try to make it do.
So you don't think an energy transfer is a soul tie?
I don't think it lasts as long as people try to make it up.
Okay, how
I
long
think
do
that's
people
just
say that
it.
they last?
I just think they make it like you lay down with somebody, their soul is tied to you. I don't believe that. I believe that it could be energy transfer. It could lower your frequency for a few hours, and I feel like you can wash it off.
A few hours?
He said, I feel like you
Okay,
can
but
wash
listen,
off.
I'm metaphorically speaking,
No,
but I'm just saying,
hold on.
like,
No,
whatever that look like, whatever that detox look like.
There are people who literally believe that you can take a bath
And
and like those herbs and all those other
Yeah, that's a
things
little too deep for me.
No, seriously.
I believe you, that's
the
just
fact that you
deep.
said that, it was
Cleanse
just like
yourself
it shifted.
I believe it. It's just deep. I'm just basically saying.
But that's what I thought you was talking about a little bit. That's why
I said
yo,
metaphorically speaking.
Okay.
I said metaphorically speaking. Like
Yeah,
I'm saying,
that,
like
I started thinking like crystals and
yeah, no, that's a little. That's beyond my.
I just
but
broke
the
up
soul,
with my ex. So.
the soulmate thing. I feel like your soulmate.
bath.
I don't feel like soulmate is necessarily romantic. I feel like your soulmate could be a fucking dog. Like I feel like when you think about connecting on that frequency and that vibration, like you couldn't align with somebody to that degree. But I believe in like the twin flames, and I believe that it happens. But I don't believe it's just one person walking this earth that's your soulmate.
I have a question. You said so your soulmate could be a dog.
I was just
I get what you're
shit.
saying, but you're saying it could be anybody. You could have a soulmate and a friend, or
Because you could just align with that person in that way. I don't think it's all romantic.
I agree with
so there's a possibility that I don't have a husband as a soulmate.
No, it's a possibility you could have a husband that's soulmate, but that don't mean that if you meet a friend, like you and Sai could be soulmates. That don't mean you don't find a husband that's your
I don't
soulmate.
think so.
That ship has sailed.
Well, whatever.
That shit was never there.
Like,
There's a lot of contact missing here, so I'm gonna pivot this conversation. But I wanted to pinpoint something too when we were talking about capacity, and one of y'all mentioned it because we're not gonna get away from the soulmate thing. But I was just thinking like how we were just going over the when you said something about the going back to the whole polygamy thing, and we were just talking about parenting, and I was just kind of keeping that bullet point. And I was explaining the capacity in that regard, where it's like. It's really like a capacity thing. You really got to understand. But, you know, I unpacked the thought when it come back to me because I tried to keep it, but I lost it. But all in all, I just feel like to y'all point about the whole soulmate thing, yeah, I feel like it's possible, but I don't feel like I feel like that's the issue. Like, everybody looking for this thing that's outside of them is like, yo, like, what's the goal right now? Like, what is the end goal? And because the end goal stays the same. The people involved might change.
Yeah.
And people give up the end goal when the person leaves.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said, I'm not giving up my end goal. I still want.
That's actually really good. Because to even think about that, it's kind of what we was talking about with
a few weeks
ago. Mm-hmm. And to even think about that, because even me personally, like, well, I'm a little delusional, full disclosure.
I feel like y'all both are, but we ain't.
No, that's
she a little bit more than you.
Yeah, I was gonna say she be out of.
You don't got to disclose. I feel like everybody got a little
you
bit.
Start texting, like I already envisioned the very.
No.
So that just.
Oh yeah, I did say that. No, for real. Because I don't just be talking to anybody. So when I start talking to a guy, like I'm thinking, remember I asked you like about people that's ugly and stuff like that. Because I'm instantly trying to figure out how our kids gonna look. Like I just be thinking about all.
So let me be. So that's defense, right? So that's defense.
She not wrong.
I feel like everybody had that small glimpse of because I'll give it foresight in the beginning before I give it delusion. Like you just thinking out ahead, like how could this turn out? Like what could this be?
How old are you and where you from? And you instantly thinking like,
I mean, it get that deep.
Good.
Like
I wouldn't.
Some people go as far as they go through your pictures and they thinking that crazy. So
listen,
as soon as you DM them back, they're like, oh yeah, this finna be my. I'm like,
no, but
you know what I'm saying?
So listen, my delusions is like
that's what I'm
my
saying.
delusions is in my head or like with my friends. Like the person would never know I'm being delusional because I'm not like overly pushing or overly trying to be something or some, like with the person. Exactly.
No, I get you.
I like to be what it is.
No, I think I don't think that that's as bad. I think that the true delusion comes when it comes to self-evaluation. I think that women have put the microscope so far on men that they're delusional about the work that still needs to be done. Like it's a and thing. It's not an or thing. It's not who do the work, men or women. No, men and women have to do the work. It's not like when I isolated myself, I didn't look back to try to figure out who I could post the blame on for where I wasn't in my life. I looked back at why I wasn't there and said, you know what? Nobody's coming to save me. I got to get me where I want to be. And that can't be contingent upon who's around me. It got to be contingent upon who I feel like I am with inside that I want to bring out. You follow what I'm saying? So when I say that the whole delusion will come in, it's like, because it's no shortage of problems that y'all can find that men have. No shortage. We can run down a list.
I was going to say, we not?
No shortage. But it's also no shortage of work that need to be done within self.
Yeah.
So if you got to clean your room and you got to clean your room, but you too busy worried about if Sai cleaning her room, but your room ain't even fucking clean. But
Wait,
you just
hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off because this vividly just reminded me of the story in the Bible when Jesus came to visit. What was her name? It was Mary?
It wasn't Jezebel, was it?
Oh my gosh! And he was there, and the other
no, what's the other chick? What's Jesus' chick
Was
name?
it
the sister was too busy cleaning the house, and she was like, Jesus, basically like, Jesus is coming, and you're too work, like you focused on cleaning the house. Like, why aren't you cleaning? Why aren't you cleaning? And the other sister was like, you in the presence of the Lord, that's all knowing. Like you need to be focused on the fact that Jesus is here, and not focused on the fact that the environment is. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember this?
We just went over this week.
Yeah, but I feel like, so look, I get that, right? But I'm on a plane of accountability right now. So like in Jesus' name.
No, but as far
I want to keep the conversation on accountability. What I'm basically saying is I get the correlation, but I want you to land a plane on it. But to land a plane on that, I feel like that's what's happening a lot. Like everybody's in a living room arguing about whose room is dirtier. And nobody's just going back to clean their fucking room. I clean my room. So when I bring a person into my space that got a dirty room, I can see it and I don't have to deal with that because I'm like, all right, like either you gonna start cleaning your room up or I'm not fucking with it because I already am doing the work. Like if something fall on the floor, see, once you do the major things, if something spill, you just clean it up. But I did the heavy lifting, right? I did. And then another thing I'll say is a lot of people are outside of relationships talking about relationships. So what I mean is it's not about being single. I'm talking about people aren't even giving themselves the opportunity to experience a relationship to even see, because one thing I'll say about myself, right? It was so many things in me, because I did the self-love thing. Remember I said that? Self-love journey, come on, like all the stuff I'm talking about everything you could think about, reading books, doing this, doing that, I have everybody on it, right? And when I got in my relationship, I didn't realize that it was so much things that I can only uncover from being in a relationship. Like I felt like I did the work on me that made me okay, but getting in a relationship brought up triggers that I couldn't even access when I was single.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? So now I'm in therapy having a whole different conversation because I'm like, damn, I didn't know I was still bothered by it. Like how you just mentioned, like you said, using it, like I didn't know that still bothered. It only can come up when it represents itself. Yeah. But if you never approach a relationship again to see, so I even feel like in this space now, I'm even more developed than I was because for the first couple months of my situation, I'm triggered left and right. The simplest stuff, I'm like, yo, now granted, my triggers should never affect my partner. So I'm not lashing out through my triggers, but I'm talking to my therapist. Yo, like, I don't know why I'm tripping over this. That's normal, Naiym. You're triggered because of this, because of that. That's helping me regulate my emotions and helping me process my thoughts. And then by the end of it, I'm like, all right, I know that these things don't bother me no more because the same things are happening and nothing is happening within me. I'm no longer reactive. Right. But I would have never been able to, like, that's why I said, like, I don't know who I was talking to, and I'm just like, I don't need to go on another self-love. Like, I'm ready. Like, I did what I needed to do. I got deep in the crevices of the pain that was, like, dormant. Yeah. It was because when you dating, you don't even open yourself up in certain ways to even give a fuck for things that even matter. Just, are you on to the next? Yeah. And when you finally let your wall down and your guard down and you become extremely vulnerable and, like, to the point where it's like, I'm allowing you in. Oh yeah, like you start to see things within yourself that you never exposed. So people aren't even giving themselves that chance. Everybody just like, oh, red flag, I'm out. Like, give it a try.
Yeah, I want to speak to something you just said when you was basically saying like exposure. Like none of what I needed to work on or my triggers was not really available or evident until I was exposed to being in a relationship with somebody. So that makes me think that there is no such thing of like being ready for a relationship.
Exactly.
Outside of just like
being in a relationship.
Loving yourself.
Loving yourself allows you to not settle. Right. That's all it do. It allows you to be like, you know what? Like I'm better than this. Better than this don't mean I'm better than you.
Yeah.
It means I'm better than this.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I deserve this. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm better than this.
And we just dropped the episode, Does Ready Even Exist? Yep. And we were literally coming from a place of just pouring out. I feel like that episode was so much like self-discovery, like in the process and just unpacking. Like, and we was just like, wait, ready doesn't actually exist.
No. And because you'll never really be ready.
Lean on the experiences of the past and lean on the spirit that lies within you that's empowered by God. And live and let God. Yeah. Like I just was saying this to you. You can't control where God put you, what he put you through, and who you. So many people say, I love myself, right? But then they'll tell you everything they hate about what they went through. It's impossible to love yourself but hate the things that you had to go through to become yourself. So it's one or the other. Either you love yourself or you don't. Either you trust God or you don't. See, because you can't say you trust God, but it has to go your way.
Oh my gosh, wait. I was just telling Destiny what she told me the other day, right? But actually, I think that was yesterday.
Last night.
So, yo, I want to be transparent because y'all know we always keep y'all updated with what's going on in our life. But needless to say, we, I don't know. I had got promoted at work, right? And I was literally like not going to take the promotion because I just felt like it was not, I don't know, like it was not handed to me or delivered to me in the magnitude in which I expected it to be, right? And I was literally having a conversation with Naiym, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to tell him, yeah, it's cool. I'm happy that y'all see this in me, but I'm not taking it. And he said something that humbled me so much. I had to tell Destiny. I told my mom. I told Destiny, everybody, because he said, okay. So you going to ask God, you telling me that you prayed to God for something, and then you going to tell him that you don't want it because it wasn't wrapped up in wrapped up in a box with a bow on it how you wanted it. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, you gotta
clocked.
You gotta, you gotta think of it like this, man. Like we as men, we grow up playing sports, right? You want the starting job, but in reality, something has to happen to the starter for you to get the position. That don't mean you wish ill on that person, but you're not. If you're on the bench, you don't become first string unless the starters transfers, get injured, or just plays so bad that you are the best fit for the job. So you wanted the position. The only way it was going to become yours is if it became vacant. How it becomes vacant don't matter. That don't make. And I was telling her,
nothing to do with me.
They don't have nothing to do with you. Like that. Like because people scout based on what they see. You see based on what you see. So you might have saw all along. It's just no different than when a man is dealing with a woman and you feel like you the perfect person for him all along, but he just don't see it yet.
Yeah.
When he finally come available, do you say, nah, because you played in my face with that.
Yeah.
And that's why you
exactly what I said.
And that's why you never get the guy. Because niggas don't think like that. I will sit back and be like, yo, she really a good situation and some bullshit. And as long as she don't come out of that doing too traumatized or with a lot of kids or sometimes with a kid.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what, like, cause even when you're dealing with the wrong person, you still auditioning for the right person. I'm still going, like, it's like, I'm watching, I'm like, damn, she a good person. Like, her judgment a little off. She tolerating some shit, but that's just because she don't wanna, y'all got this thing where starting over, and then it's the fear of loss. Like, y'all don't know how to cut ties. Like, it's like, when I say cut ties, I'm talking about with the time invested, with the time spent. It's like, you're trying to recoup. I'm a businessman, fuck it. It cost me this amount, I'm not getting it back. The lost cause.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast, Let's Talk Sis, with Des and Sa.
Stay connected by following us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget, use hashtag Dear Sister Let's Talk to find us.
Wait, before you go, head over to our website or our Instagram and join our interactive community for a daily dose of sisterhood, where like-minded women fellowship, encourage, and create a safe space amongst one another.
See you inside, sis.
Toodles.
Bye.